Jay here, Stretford Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're in the studio. We are live, so get involved in the chat and the comments. Going to be talking about all the latest Manchester United news. I'm going to turn that down for starters, forgive me. All the latest Manchester United news, talking about transfers, talking about some updates on what's going on with some of our loanees as well. So we'll be getting into all that. So make sure you are getting involved in the chat as well. The big story, sort of doing the rounds at the minute, is the midfield story. Whether that's talking about Sandro Tonali or Elliot Anderson or Carlos Baleba or Adam Wharton, it does feel like every day there's another sort of development or another update or another report on which way Manchester United are going to go with midfielders. So I'm going to get into that shortly. Good to see loads of people in the chat already. Akash K, Brown Knight, Real recognises Real. Mick Holohan's in there as well. Martin P. Good to see wonderful people and a few others as well. Let's talk then about this story. I think this is from The Athletic. So our mate Laurie Whitwell says, United identified Sandro Tonali as a target last summer, but didn't pursue due to cost. The same factor, wages and transfer fee, is expected to be prohibitive again this time round, all things considered. So the tweet by Laurie, I think the piece there you can see is by James Horncastle with an assist. It's like a goal in it. He's got goals and assists by Adam Crafton. So the Tonali transfer looks like the one that is the most likely. Out of the ones we've been linked with, I think you've been linked with Anderson, been linked with Wharton, Carlos Baleba, which I'm going to get to in a minute, is another one as well. But it feels like with Tonali, there's a little bit of fire to this smoke because the Bruno Guimaraes one didn't feel like there was much with that one. It does feel a little bit different with Tonali, but there's the issue of the transfer fee and the wages too, because with Ineos, we're hearing that they're not going to pay silly money in terms of, well, hopefully not pay silly money in terms of transfer fees, but in terms of wages. We've had it in the past, haven't we, where Manchester United have paid 325, 350k, 375k a week to certain players. Apparently Ineos aren't on that anymore. They're not doing that. So there's going to be a cap. Now, these players aren't going to be on the breadline. Let's not be silly about it. But they're not going to be getting that kind of money that certain players have got in the past. The likes of Marcus Rashford, the likes of Casemiro, the likes of Paul Pogba, even if you want to go back further. I think even David De Gea was on huge amounts of money. So we'll have to wait and see whether that is going to be a sticking point. I don't think it should be. I think you should still be able to get Sandro Tonali from Newcastle and pay him probably more than what he's on at Newcastle without breaking the bank. We'll have to wait and see, though. Let me know what you think about that. Do you want Sandro Tonali? Do you think we can get him? Do you think he can do a job for Manchester United? I want to hear what everyone thinks, because what we were told, and I mentioned this yesterday, and it's kind of where we're up to with it. United or there's been reports about United's sort of transfer policy this summer, and it's that the club view Tonali, maybe Anderson and Wharton as potential replacements for Casemiro, and the Baleba deal is somewhat separate to that. So it feels like we could get one or two of those midfielders already mentioned and Carlos Baleba. I personally think United need 3 midfielders this summer. If we're going to lose Casemiro, which we know we are, there's good reports that we're going to lose Ugarte, and I think most people agree we probably need to. Then you cannot go into next season having lost 2 midfielders and just bring in 2 midfielders in. That's not enough. We've had 40 games this season. We're going to have at least 50, aren't we? Hopefully next season. So you're going to need more than just like-for-like replacements in terms of numbers. I think you're going to need more bodies, and I think you're going to need to bring in 3 midfielders. Whether that is going to be Anderson, Tonali, and Baleba, we'll have to wait and see. Let's talk about the Anderson and Tonali sort of price then, because this is in the standard. That United are eyeing a bid for both of them in terms of Elliot Anderson and Sandro Tonali, looking to try and bring them both in for around 190 million, double transfer summer over swoop, sorry. We'll get into this, and I'll get into some of the comments, because I know a lot of you have got an opinion on this, and rightly so. Manchester United appear to have serious interest in both Elliot Anderson and Sandro Tonali ahead of the summer transfer window. A midfield overhaul looks set to be on the agenda at Old Trafford at the end of the current season, regardless of who ends up being appointed as the club's next full-time manager, with interim boss Michael Carrick strengthening his case as the front runner for that role. It then goes on to say, like, if you look, scroll down a bit, thank you. So United retooled their attack. How often do you retool your attack? That's a bit of a weird way of putting it, innit? But I get it. So United went turbo in the summer to strengthen the attack. We brought in, obviously, Mbeumo, Cunha, and Sesko. So we just said, right, we're going to focus on the attack. And we did that. And we did it well. I think all those 3 signings were good signings. And usually with United, when we make a few signings, usually with United, we make a few signings, all 3 of them are rubbish. But those were good signings, doing the job you pretty much expected and wanted them to do. And it feels like the attack is now almost sorted, isn't it? Maybe you could argue we need another striker coming in, especially if we lose Joshua Zirkzee. But the attack is looking a lot better than it looked 12 months ago, whenever. The midfield now seems to be a priority for this summer. It feels like they're sort of doing it in stages almost. Right, we'll sort the attack out, then we'll get into the midfield. So it says, now, though Kobe Mainoo has now reverted back to being a key player under Carrick after a frustrating period during the reign of predecessor Ruben Amorim, doubts also surround the future of Manuel Ugarte, as mentioned, while the long-term plans of captain Bruno Fernandes remain unclear after he was subject to big money offers from Saudi last year. We cannot lose Bruno Fernandes. I will die on that hill. If we lose Bruno Fernandes, we're in all sorts of trouble. I just feel like to lose Fernandes, Casemiro, and obviously you can go, well, he's not that key. But to lose 3 midfielders, including your captain and your talisman in Bruno Fernandes, I think that's a big ask to replace. It says United have been linked with Anderson, Tonali, Baleba, Wharton, Alex Scott and Bruno Guimaraes, among others. Now, this is where the problem is with the sort of standard story is it's originating from the Sun. # don't buy the Sun. There has been a lot of noise, though, regardless of the Sun, because I wouldn't trust anything they say, around Manchester United wanting Anderson. I mentioned this yesterday about how I think Sully Talks mentioned that the club are looking at him. They got Romano saying that the club are looking at him. But there's this feeling that City might get there ahead of us or might be a more attractive proposition for him. And this, I don't want to keep repeating myself, but I think United should be able to sign players ahead of Manchester City. I just do. We'll have to wait and see, though. City might be willing to pay him the wages that we're not. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat in the comments. Do you think it's possible for United to get Tonali and Anderson? That might seem like a bit of a stretch, but look at last season. Last summer, we bought, was it Sesko for, was it 70-odd million? Cunha for 60-odd million, and Mbumo for 60-odd million. So that's around 200 million quid in it on attackers. So are we going to do something similar with midfield this summer? Especially Champions League football on the horizon. Maybe we do. Super Toad GTI says, so we hired the Newcastle football director, fired him, then want to buy their midfield. Yeah, we've been linked with quite a few Newcastle, not just their midfielders. We're also linked with Lewis Hall as well, weren't we? Martin P says, is there a midfielder we are all sleeping on? Good question. Santa Notch says, how much of a budget will we have this summer to upgrade this team while we lose 3 midfielders? I mean, this is the budget is the key in it. How much are we going to have? Heaven Soul says, any 2 of Anderson, Wharton, or Baleba and Stiller is my suggestion. Yeah, we have been linked with Angelo Stiller, haven't we? Quite a lot. And he would, you think, be a bit cheaper than the likes of Baleba and Wharton, and certainly than Anderson. He's a lad at Stuttgart. He's highly regarded. I've mentioned him a few times. I think he's got a few caps as well. He's got about 7 caps with Germany, so he's doing quite well. Could be a potential signing for Manchester United. Not in loads of noise around him, but his name does keep cropping up quite a bit. I know producer Benny is a big fan of his. So we'll see. We'll see. That's one to keep an eye on. And a lot of this is just speculation, isn't it? We don't know. We don't know what City are going to do. We don't know what the budget is. We don't know whether United are going to be able to buy Tonali and Anderson or one of them or any of them. But there's certainly an interest in both those players and some of the other the usual suspect we've been linked with. And let's not forget, last summer, we're probably going, well, we know we're going to get Cunha, because I think that deal was almost sort of done because of his buyout clause. Are we going to get Mbumo as well? Maybe. There was talk that Newcastle and Spurs were in for him. Then it was sort of Sesko one that came a little bit out of the blue, didn't it? Because after we got Mbumo, you thought, oh, maybe that's it for attackers. And then we went and got Benjamin Sesko. So maybe United have a few tricks up the sleeve. We'll have to wait and see. Akash K says, then another 20 on Lomans. Yeah, I mean, we brought in Lomans as well. He's been a fantastic signing. Honestly, the best compliment I can pay Senna Lomans is I don't think about our goalkeeper much anymore. And I used to think about him a lot because I used to worry about him all the time when it was Ollie Bayern and when it was Andre Onana. And Senna Lomans just gets on with it, doesn't he? Just gets on with the job and does a very good job of it. Heaven Soul says, total of 3, Stiller as the non-Premier League proven option alongside any 2 of the others. Yeah, why not? Giggity says, hey up, Jay, great to see you back. Thank you. Yeah, good to be back in the studio chatting to you guys. MN2K2 Shock says, morning, Jay. With the Steve connection, will Rio ever make an appearance, any capacity on this show? I don't know if he'll be on this show. He's been on the channel a few times. We've had him on. With me and Joe have had an interview with him. Joe's done an interview with him on his own. Maka did an interview with him. He made a little cameo appearance on the Paddock podcast, I think it was, a couple of years ago. So, yeah, we had him on a post-match reaction. So, yeah, he has been on the channel quite a few times, but it'd be good we could get him on the news, get his thoughts. Why not? I'll see if Steve can make that happen. Should we talk about other stories? And there are other stories doing the rounds. There's this one about Harry. I think this was yesterday, this story, but I didn't mention it in my news. It came out a bit more after. I think it came out, after I'd done my news. I mean, look, it does feel as though this is going to happen. United are closing in on agreement with Harry Maguire over a new contract, according to ESPN. His deal expires in June. Negotiations between his representatives and the club have been described as positive, as there's hope on both sides that an agreement is close. His deal ends, the defender's new deal is likely to be for 1 year until 2027, with the option of an extra season, which would keep him at Old Trafford until June 2028. I think we need to keep Harry Maguire. I keep repeating myself because it's just true and it's where we're at. We know there's injury issues around Lisandro Martinez, even though we love him. We know there's injury issues around Mercedes de Ligt, even though we love him as well. Lenny Yoro and Aiden Heaven, very good players, very young players as well, though. We do need other options. We need a bit of experience there. Harry Maguire gives you that. There's other players coming through the academy as well, someone like Godwill Kakonki, of course. But I feel like keeping Harry Maguire makes a lot of sense. Let me know what you think. Get involved in the chat and the comments. Sandro Notch talking about the goalkeeper situation, says would prefer a better backup keeper than what we have. I agree with that. I think if Lomans, was rested, then could you rely on Bayern? I don't think you could you really, to be honest with you, no disrespect, but let's be real. I think there's Radek Vitek in there who's on loan at Bristol City. Maybe he could be an option. Let me know what you think about Harry Maguire signing a new deal, or potentially signing a new deal, I should say. Akash K says it's a complete no-brainer. Yep, I think it is. Just get him done. Extra year. Makes a lot of sense. He's still doing a very good job for Manchester United. No reason to think why he couldn't do another year. And I think that would benefit us greatly. Let's talk about Lewis-Skelly. This one's not going away. So we've got our tweet here. According to Nathan Swolt. No, let's try again. He's not Nathan Swolt. That's very, offensive. Sorry, Nathan. Nathan Salt, who's a friend of the channel. He might not be a friend of the channel after I called him Nathan Swolt. Says Myles Lewis-Skelly was offered to United via intermediaries. So it looks like it's not quite happening for him at Arsenal. They feel like he could move on. And United are interested in him. Stranger things have happened. I didn't think this was going to happen. It might have a little bit of legs in it. We'll have to wait and see. But he's such a young player. Was he 19? That it does seem a little bit hasty for them to get rid of him. I know they've got other options. Is it Hincapi and Calafiori they've got there? So they have got other options at left back. But he's a homegrown player that's done very well for him, and he's very young. I'd be surprised if they let him go to Manchester United. And we'll get Nathan on the channel to chat about that, because I'm just surprised it's even an option, to be honest with you. I think he's a good player, very good young player. Also, as well, he's so young, 19. To be playing in the Premier League as a 19-year-old defender is quite rare. So I just think when you've got a player like that, you'd want to keep hold of him and see how they develop, because he's nowhere near the finished article, and he's someone who could potentially play in your team for the next 15 years, whatever. And you could let him go, and then, in a couple of years, he's unreal. I don't know. It strikes me as a little bit odd. I don't know. Frank F5486 says, Harry can do a Johnny Evans and see out his career here if he will play when needed. MN2K2 Shock says, Jay, what did you think about Tuchel's comment on Maguire when he said the likes of Chelsea's Chalobah is ahead of him in the pecking order? I've not seen that comment by Thomas Tuchel, but if he thinks Trevor Chalobah is ahead of him in the pecking order, ahead of Harry Maguire, that's his prerogative as the England manager. I mean, I'm not the biggest England fan, to be honest with you. I do, you know, I want England to win the World Cup. You know, I am English and that is my team. But I'm not that bothered. I just hope that the United players get a crack of the whip. I'd like to see Manu in the team. I'd like to see Maguire in the team. Whether that happens or not remains to be seen. Obviously, if Trevor Chalobah's ahead of him, it's not looking great for Harry Maguire. We'll just have to wait and see what happens. I don't know, to be honest with you, with the whole two-colour England thing. There's certain things he's done that I don't really understand or get, but it's early days, and I think, like his qualifying, wasn't it ridiculously successful? So how critical can you be? Let's talk about Cole Palmer quickly. Right. Of all the things that ain't going to happen, this ain't going to happen the most. Manchester United handed Cole Palmer transfer boost after major new update on Chelsea start. I kind of had this yesterday about these reports he's going to leave, so you can get rid of that. I don't think it's going to happen, and I'm not holding my breath. I'd have him, but I don't think we'll get him. Marcus Rashford. Let's talk about him. Man United and Marcus Rashford can breathe a sigh of relief as Barcelona not won over. Marcus Rashford has already expressed his feelings towards Barcelona, but the England international is still waiting for the club to make... Producer Harry's just told me this is... Also, I don't get this. Man United and Marcus Rashford can breathe a sigh of relief as Barcelona not won over. What does that mean?
Try and guess what it means.
Right, Producer Harry just said, try and guess what it means. So, why can we breathe a sigh of relief? What is making United and Rashford breathe a sigh of relief as Barcelona not won over? Right, I'm going to guess that Barcelona are not won over by a player that's sort of in Rashford's way. Right, who is the player? Go on, put me out of my misery. Go on. So, what? Virgili? What? Right. What's going on here? Right. So, alongside Rashford, the club are exploring younger attacking options, including Benfica's Andreas Schneiderloop and Osasana's Victor Munoz, while Jan Virgili is viewed as a player who could be brought back from Mallorca. Virgili, who previously spent time in Barcelona's youth setup and their B team, was sold by the club for 4 million last year, with Barca retaining 40% of a future sale and a buyback clause. He could now be brought back for a reported 10 million, a far smaller fee than what the Spanish Giants will need to pay for Rashford. However, the same report notes that Barca view Virgili as a rough diamond who looks to be way behind in the running against Rashford, with club chiefs not convinced by him at this stage in his career. Jesus wept. So that story is completely meaningless, and I think we should all just forget about it. What else have you got for us? Go on. What's this one? Jesus Christ. Where's this from? Team Talk, right, okay. So, Manchester United are reported to have formally entered the race alongside Liverpool and Spurs to sign a top Serie A centre-back in the summer transfer window. Who is the top Serie A centre-back? Oh, there it is. Is that him there? So, we're apparently in for Roma's Evan Ndicka, who has been a regular for the Italian Giants since joining them on a free transfer in June 2023, and he's playing really well, and United apparently are in for him or looking at him alongside Spurs and Liverpool. I'll believe it when I see it. I don't know much about him. I'm not going to bother trying to do a sort of scouting report now, but yeah, if we do make a bid or anything, as always, we'll keep you posted. Just an interesting one. I know it's not United related. You see that De Zerbi's got a Spurs by the looks of it on a 5-year deal, and he's going to be one of the highest paid managers in the Premier League. Bit of a strange one, that, isn't it? To be honest with you, giving him a 5-year deal on big money. Doesn't stick around for long, does he, De Zerbi, when he's at clubs as well? I mean, the main priority, obviously, is keeping them up, but it does seem like a bit of a weird one. De Zerbi was someone who was linked with the United job, kind of loosely won it a little while ago, but that does seem to have gone out the window now, and obviously, if he's going to Spurs, then it's definitely gone out the window. And he won't be coming to Manchester United. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of glad of that, because I wasn't too enamoured of that idea either. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you to everyone who got involved in the chat and the comments. Make sure, if you're not doing so already, you are subscribing to the channel. I'm going to have a little chatty with Joe Smith. Shortly, me and him are going to do a video. Plus, he'll be back later on with Stephen Alson as well. There's a link in the chat to the merch as well. Go and check out the merchandise. I've been Jay Motti. This has been The Paper Talk. Thanks for watching.